Good afternoon and welcome back to Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. We're going to go take a ride on the Liberty Bell today and check out the crowd levels here on Labor Day weekend. Are you ready for today's adventure? Let's go. And welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor and subscribe down below. If you like this video, give it a nice like and thumbs up because the YouTube algorithm loves to share it with more people like you from throughout the world. So here we are on Sunday, September 3rd, Labor Day weekend here at Walt Disney World. When you take a look at the crowds, here it is around noontime and there's not a lot of people here, guys. Just makes you scratch your chin a little bit. Let's take a look, and off yonder we have Frontierland, Diamond Horseshoe, the Country Bear Jamboree, and off in the distance the former rest in peace Splash Mountain. Looking pretty thin out there, guys. We'll find out once we get on board the Liberty Bell. As a side note, leading up to the Magic Kingdom entrance, there's two of these kind of steamboats that take guests into the park. And one of them's named the Admiral Joe Fowler, and that guy actually helped design and build these, both for here at Walt Disney World and in California Disneyland. Fun fact. And of course, these are on a track. It's free floating on a track.
Okay, welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard as he unlocked the turnstiles. Alright, made our way up to the top deck. And yeah, would you take a look at that? There is Tom Sawyer's Island and the little restaurant that is never open. Come down below. And you see what I mean? Look how thin those crowds are, which is not a bad thing. Trust me, if you're here to visit on a Sunday, you just want to get the most out of your visit here. I'd say most for your money, but most out of your visit. Definitely, today's the place to be at Disney World. Ooh, those are those infamous Florida love bugs. I wonder why they call them love bugs. It almost seems like we have the whole ship to ourselves. Over here, passing the Liberty Square area. Real steam engines that paddle, that power the paddle wheel down there. Not too bad of a wait, 45 minutes for the Haunted Mansion across the way there. It's just pretty amazing, guys. We're gonna find out as we make a trip around the rivers of America here to see what the crowds are really like, but it's looking pretty promising for a nice light day. So it's pretty incredible, guys, whether you join me from day one or you join me recently. The adventure stop is going on more than 4 years, heading into year number 5 on our adventures. And whether it be to theme parks, to unknown destinations, unboxings, things that interest me on 2 or 4 wheels. Pretty much this is a style channel where I kind of do my own thing, whether I vlog or I do unboxings or I do mini documentaries. It's one of those where it's just kind of what I do, and if you follow along, if you like those kind of things, great and fantastic. I love your company. I love the views, the likes, the subscribes. But as I get distracted, if you look very closely down there, you can actually see where the track is down below as it curves. I guess the green water is kind of clear enough to be able to actually see to the bottom. It's pretty shallow. But this here is more of a vlog, if anything, as we kind of tour the rivers of America. And, you know, all aboard. Being Labor Day weekend, I thought it would be a lot busier, but I did another one of those crazy day trips where I decided to jump on a red-eye flight out of Las Vegas this time. I flew straight into nonstop Orlando. landed with a slight delay a little after 6 a.m. and went to the All-Star Music, Movies, and Sports Resort. Did a little tour over there, came over here to the Magic Kingdom, just had a nice little lunch at Be Our Guest. I'm going to head up Oga's Cantina, and I'm going to go home after that. So yeah, you can kind of follow along. I'm going to kind of split this up into different video series, because that's kind of what I do instead of all one blog. But yeah, I did another one of those crazy day trips where I went to Florida and came back in the same day. And it's kind of spurred a video series that I've been doing for a couple years now. I thought one day that I go out to the airport and fly out at midnight, come over here to Disney World, visit all 4 parks, and then fly back and hit up Disneyland. So I did coast to coast, west coast, east coast, and then back to the west coast. 5 parks in less than 24 hours, and I haven't heard of anyone really ever doing that. Oftentimes people do 4 parks out here, then fly to California and go to the 2 parks there and call it a day, but they actually don't go to Florida, back where they came from, in the same day. So it's a pretty good accomplishment, a pretty big feat that I never thought I could do. And once you accomplish something like that, really you can do almost anything. So you checking out those crowds across the way? Like there's virtually, I'd say no one, but of course there's people, but it's very, very thin. As you can see, normally it's shoulder to shoulder. They've already set up the ropes for whatever afternoon spectacular they have, some sort of parade. I'm not really in tune with what they do here at Disney World, or not so much anymore at Disneyland either. I do like theme parks in general. I like Universal, I like Knott's Berry Farm. I like the history behind it, how the parks got here. By the sound of it, sounds like we're about to head out here. So again, this park opened October 1st, 1971, with the start of Walt's brother Roy, because Walt passed away, and Roy decided to have his legacy built on, and came out of retirement and decided to finish the plans that Walt started with the Florida project. And this resort, starting in 1971, with the handful of, the Polynesian and the Contemporary to get started. The Magic Kingdom Park was one of the originals, kind of to mimic Disneyland on the West Coast. Very simple. All right, just did a quick little battery change, and we're back in business. All right, so a lot of the things that they mimic here at Disney World, which came later, of course, instead of the golden horseshoe, we have the diamond horseshoe. When you take a look at those crowd levels, there's hardly anyone here. So we had to do a little pit stop as the raft makes its way across to Tom Sawyer Island. I think I've been over there once. There's some caves you can explore. It's mostly for the kids, but they're small little tight areas and suspension bridges and whatnot you can walk through. But going back, so yes, the country bears are out there doing their thing. You know, a lot of people are fans of Walt Disney, and yeah, he is very admirable for all the ideas and things he came up with, but I think his brother Roy, he did a whole lot to save the company multiple times, so I have like the most amazing respect and admiration for Roy E. Disney. I believe E. Anyways, I have the utmost respect and admiration for Roy Disney, his brother. And so back in the day also, when his animators went on strike, Walt kind of threw his hands up in the air and gave up. He gave a little notice to go on vacation to South America. He called it a business trip, but it's more of like a mental getaway as a vacation. In fact, during his vacation, his father passed away, and he didn't bother coming back to his father's funeral. Maybe you know about that, and not a lot of people know about that, but he went a little cuckoo in the Cocoa Puff, actually, to be honest. And so Roy stepped in, smoothed things over with the animators and his workers that went on strike in Burbank, and got them back to work. And after he did that, Walt came back, of course, and that's when he went from eating steak and lobster to eating cold chili out of a can. And then came up with the idea to split off the company into WED, Walt Disney Enterprises, to start the parks division, because he wanted to create a space for him, his own little world, where he had full control over everything. And that's where he started Disneyland. It was his getaway. So his little Main Street, yeah, that reminded him of his home back in Marceline. And he had his barber shop there. He had his little tobacco store where he can get his smokes, because he was a chain smoker, and he unfortunately did pass away of lung cancer, but he can get his little cigars, his cigarettes, and his cigarillos there on Main Street, hence the little Indian that's out front still to this day on Main Street. And pretty much his own little world was created there on Main Street. So he just kind of wanted to stay there, immerse himself, and that's where he came up with his apartment. Because up in Walt's apartment, he would oftentimes drink bourbon and whiskey, and he would like to just hang out in his apartment. And he kind of missed his wife, and so later on he decided to build the second apartment above Pirates. And unfortunately, he did pass away before that could ever be completed. But that's the whole point of building that second apartment, so that his wife could join him and his grandkids and his kids and everyone else. But he really wanted to immerse himself into the parks and really not leave his little fantasy world he created, which I don't blame him by all means. It's a really great idea, and if I had enough money, I would do the same. I mean, wouldn't you? It's basically like creating your own little island, but in a metropolitan area. His own utopia with an autopia also. So as we make our way around Big Thunder Mountain, the crowd level, I can't really see, but it looks like it's probably around 40 minutes for the crowd leading up to the hill and the little standby area as the trains go down and whee, throw your hands up in the air. And I really do miss Splash Mountain. I can remember the days of Disneyland having their grand opening at Splash Mountain, and a lot of the animatronics were taken from the America Sings attraction, which was the former Carousel of Progress area, and that was turned into Splash Mountain. So their Splash Mountain is completely different from Disney World's, which I actually like Disney World's better because it was created from scratch. Yeah, check out the track down there. Can you see it? But yeah, I get it. Change. Walt was all about change, but Walt's no longer here, and so now this corporate-run business is just changing things left and right, and whether people agree or don't agree, it's happening. But we can always have our memories, right? You know, a lot of these totem poles that were created throughout the park here and also in Epcot were made locally in a California business called Oceanic Arts. They're no longer in business, but a lot of these relics of the past came from California. I'm not sure if those were, but they sure do look like the design that Oceanic Arts puts out. And look at the little fish down there. I can see little baby fish. I'm sure those are the mosquito-eating type fish. But I'm not really sure if it's the economy or maybe some political pushback, but these crowd levels are definitely changing, and that's a fact. What's driving it, I'm not sure, but it sure makes for a pleasant day in the parks. As far as corporate profits, that's a different story, but it sure does make for a nice day in the park here. I'm panning for gold. Speaking of which, have you seen my Hill Hauser documentary? It's doing pretty well. California's Gold. It's one of my favorites. And there's the infamous burning cabin. I guess there's a little side story to that I'll get into someday, but now it's just a smoking mist of a cabin. Check that out down there. It's a Florida turtle on a rock. You zoom in. Can you see him there? Mr. Turtle. Right there in the center of the screen. followed by one of those Florida birds. I'm not sure what that is. Type of pelican of some sort? I'm not sure. Maybe a gull of some sort? Beautiful day today. I'd say it's around the mid 80s today. Nice breeze blowing. Of course, every day this time of year is monsoon season, so you can expect possible thunder showers in the afternoon, but I don't think too many are expected today. Couldn't ask for a more perfect day to come out here to Florida to have a delicious lunch, go on a few rides, and then go back home to the other West Coast, Orange County. You know, I've still been tossing it around. I mean, I get comments every once in a while, especially from 2020, like, why are you wearing the mask? And I get it. A lot of people get triggered by the mask thing, and it's just because I don't really show my face in these vlogs. I don't like to be famous. But at the same time, I feel that you connect with me better, so I'm still tossing the idea around because, you know, once the internet gets put out there, once you put things on YouTube, there's no going back. And I used to have a high-profile job, and not so much anymore, so I'm just considering maybe reconnecting with you guys and making it... Sorry, there's a mosquito that was drilling its face into my arm right there. And making it more personal, connecting with you guys, and maybe flipping the camera on at some point and saying, hi, I'm LJ with today's Adventure Stop. And again, I've been on a theme park kick recently, and I enjoy them because I've been super busy with work and all, with my day job, and it's kind of a good little getaway, an escape, if you will. Y'all want to go see the House of Mud? It's not mud, Dad, it's sod. Recently took a little camping trip up to Mount Whitney Portal Campground. Did a couple vlogs about that. If you want to go check out those videos, they're down below as well. Got rained on a little bit, so I didn't really get as much footage as I really wanted, and actually slept in my vehicle so I wouldn't get soaking wet, which is actually more comfortable, even though I think I'd rather be slightly cramped up in the car than to be wet. And we have our Indian village over here. Is that the Liberty Bell? Is that the Liberty Bell being angry at me because I said Indian village? I'm sorry, Native American village. Apologies. Times have changed. Animatronics. They sure come a long way. Roasting corn over the fire, doing a little fishing. Buddy, I don't think you're going to catch anything anytime soon. There's nothing but turtles and mosquitoes in this water. So what do you guys think? I don't know, the Rivers of America at Disneyland seems like it's a little more entertaining. You know, shortly I'm going to post this Disney World Railroad adventure where it's the most boring ride ever. And so I don't know if you're in agreement, but the railroad here at Disney World is not very visually pleasing. There's not a lot to look at, but this greenery, as you can see here. But when that video comes out, you can let me know what you think of it. It's like I think a 12-minute video of doing a grand circle tour around Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. What's your favorite right here? I went on Pirates a little while ago, and of course, because of copyright infringement, really didn't want to film a whole lot in there of the point of view ride experiences, which I like to do as well. But I think one of my favorite ones here, I know it sounds weird, here at Magic Kingdom, it's actually the People Mover. And you can check out that video as well. There's one time where it broke down and I got yelled at a cast member for filming Tron, and she thought I was filming the evacuation. Well, I think out of spite I actually did film part of the evacuation process as well. And so check out that video. It has currently a little more than 3,000 views on there. This is so relaxing, so nice. I actually kind of wish I would have sat down there because I'm currently standing. So it's kind of crazy. Ooh, there is a fish down there. I think that was some sort of bass. Interesting. I didn't know there were actual like larger fish. Okay, buddy, keep on fishing back there. You never know. You might be catching that thing that just jumped out of the water. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to news and current events because I'm just so busy working all the time. I'm putting in long hours, but I enjoy it and I enjoy what I do. But you know, a lot of things are still pretty crazy in the world and are very politically driven and motivated driven and politician driven, but I don't really like to pay attention to any of that. In the end, I always just say, you know, kind of do what makes you happy, of course, but without affecting others. So find your own happiness and pleasure in life where you can find that outlet to do what's fun, but also where you can kind of make an impact in the world at the same time. I don't know, it kind of sounds cliche, a little cheesy, but you do you. Crawdad Shoals. So that there is Tom Sawyer's Island again. We have the fort. I don't remember much about that. I remember crawling up in there once and peeking out through those little portals, but and I remember going on that suspension bridge because you have the ibis across the way, kind of walking along the rope there, if you can see that. And those ibises, they kind of smell a little funky. And I'm sure there's the own narration done here on the Liberty Bell, but thanks for joining me today on my narration around the rivers of America. So as we pull around the corner here, we have a good little view, a peekaboo of Cinderella's castle, the rest of Liberty Square. The Liberty Bell does not want me to speak today. And as we wave to random strangers, I don't know why, you can kind of wave to random strangers and they'll wave back, but when you're on a ship and separated by water, see, it's okay, everybody kind of waves to you. It's kind of strange, but hey, that's what we do here. And a little peekaboo of the rooftops that they don't want you to really see because it's magical, right? Magic up there. Don't look at us, it's magic. Of the air conditioning units and the lights and the vents. So that's about it for all in all. That's a good trip around the rivers of America. If you liked today's video, give it a nice like and thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Subscribe down below, and thanks for joining me on today's vlog at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom for a trip around the rivers of America. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.